it did indeed. Now, I need to have a talk with the staff because somehow we decided we're going to focus on Miami after those three instead of Gary Wilson being the best player in NFL history, but we'll get to that another time. We touched on this a little earlier. I mean, the Bills have looked so good that it is almost as though no one can play with them.
Right.
This is an interesting measuring stick game, isn't it, for the Dolphins? There are no moral victories, but if that's a game late in the fourth quarter, which no one else has given Buffalo so far this year, maybe even that says something about the Dolphins.
Absolutely. I think that they've already made a couple statements. I know the Patriots aren't the Patriots of old, but it's still Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
And they went into the Ravens and knocked them off and came back against another great coach and a really talented team. So they are making statement after statement, but this will be a real statement. I think it's a winnable game. They're not as far away as I think we all would assume.
Are the Dolphins for real, Jeff Saturday? They are a legit contender in the AFC.
They are legit contenders. I will say two things that you want to see. And McDaniel, their head coach and offensive coordinator, they need to develop a more physical run game to couple with those receivers.
Yep.
But again, those guys going down the field, get the ball in their hand, yards after catch, are absolutely incredible.
Neek's face was just priceless.
Have you ever found a problem in your life that you did not think running the ball was the solution?
Very few. Very few in life.
That's an offensive lineman mindset.
Bro. It's a simple life. You know what I mean? You don't have to overcomplicate things.
The pandemic would have ended sooner if we had just run the ball.
I mean, come on. I mean, simplicity works. Y'all trying to overcomplicate life, right? If you're better at this, you're going to be better at everything. So I'm trying to help y'all.
What you're telling us is that a team that has Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on it needs to run the ball.
Yeah. Those guys are
I'll tell you, that's absolutely facts.
Yes, here's what I'll say.
Thank you.
They use the wide receivers as an extension of the running game. Their screen game, all those quick passes, the bubbles that you see Tua throwing, those are part of that running game. And when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you always have a chance.
I'd like to make another statement about Tua Tagovailoa. Because, Dan, the theme of today's show has been organizational success in developing players, right? Josh Allen, the Bills brought him along exactly right. Jalen Hurts, it looks really good for the way the Eagles have brought him along. The absolute opposite of that is what Tua has experienced so far in Miami. He had an owner who wanted to lose games. He had a coach who clearly didn't believe in him. These are on the record. This is not made up. So the point is, now he's got an offensive-minded coach who does believe in him. They put all the pieces in place you could ever imagine around him, and maybe, just maybe, we will see the result.
No doubt. And look, it's a mixed bag in terms of Dolphins' confidence. They did pick him fifth, and they have put pieces around him. That, as you said, this is not a team that's been like a 3-win team the last couple of years. They've been kind of right on the edge of the playoffs anyway. So you add Tyreek Hill, you bring in a coach that clicks better with Tua and builds up his confidence a little bit. Look, again, not to speak ill of the previous coaching staff, but there was a disconnect there. There's no question about it between the quarterback and they flirted openly with Deshaun Watson. Like, we know all about that. So he's comfortable. He's confident. It is. It's nice to see. It's fun.
It's one thing to have those weapons. It's another thing to be able to utilize them. And I think Tua showed this week that he can do that. And I got a stat for you.
Yeah.
Shefty said this last night on Monday Night Countdown.
Go.
Justin Herbert's record as a starter, 16-18. Tua's record as a starter, 15-8. He's winning games. Even despite all of the organizational fluctuations that have happened, he's winning football games, and Tua is proving every doubter out there wrong. I don't want to hear any Tua hate for the next 7 days.
Don't Jimmy G him, dog. Don't Jimmy G him.
I'm just saying, man.
They'll rain on the parade.
He's winning games.
Well, look, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the AFC. We came in saying, well, the AFC, all these teams, it all looks, well, Denver looks terrible. The Raiders so far can't get out of their own way. The Bengals are winless. There's a lot of, the Indianapolis, no offense, looks just horrendous. My point is, like, there's a little bit of up is down in the AFC, and there is room for a team like the Dolphins to sneak in there and stun the world, isn't there?
I absolutely think so. And we talk about how the modern NFL is very high scoring. They can score with anybody.
Yeah.
And they don't have, as good as McDaniel is at scheming, they almost don't have to scheme sometimes. When you have certain guys that are just quicker, faster, and better than people, sometimes the scheme is get it to 10. Yeah. Keep throwing it to 17, and something good is going to happen. As a DB, I can tell you, there's only so many times you can stay close to them, only so many times you can tackle somebody like that before they break one.
How is that any different than the Bills? Throw it to Stephon 12 for a $148, 3 touchdowns. Like, don't overcomplicate complicate it. I mean, keep it simple.
You're right. As long as you don't waste plays handing the ball off to people when you got aliens on the edge.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's hand it in the middle.
And that's funny. It's a flip side. We talk about Mahomes talking about how without Tyreek, he's going to go through progressions and go through the reads and whatever, because he used to just air it out to Tyreek. And then the flip side is Tua's down there going, wee!
He's just airing it out to Tyreek.
Respect it. Grimes got himself going.
There you go.
Trubisky and the offense struggling, and fresh off a preseason quarterback battle with Kenny Pickett, Mike Tomlin isn't worrying yet about his quarterback situation.
I'm going to exercise appropriate patience and continue to teach and ask the guys to continue to learn in an effort to continue to push this train down the track and get better. I think that if anyone is sitting here on Monday in week 2 of this thing feeling happy, they're probably wrong or misinformed.
Okay, I love listening to him talk. I could listen to Mike Tomlin talk all the time. But when you hear a coach through 2 weeks of the season speaking of an experienced veteran quarterback saying we need to exercise appropriate patience, what does that mean, Jeff?
Yeah, caution, right? Like if we're gonna be patient, why aren't we patient with a rookie? Because if you have the vet in there, you have him in there for a reason. That you can make challenging throws at appropriate times during a football game. And right now, if you have him in handcuffs, not allowed to go do what he needs to go do, you're hurting your football team. So I understand why they went with Trubisky. I thought that was the best play, but not if you're telling me we can't challenge the Patriots down the field because they're really good at stopping big plays. I mean, there's a lot of good, but you still got to go attack them to open up that offense. I didn't love that. Again, if we're gonna be patient, let's be patient with a rookie.
I mean, I agree with you. However, I don't know if the patience is all because of Mitch or if the patience is because of the offensive line. Right. So Mr. Trubisky can't be patient in the pocket. So like if we're looking at that, if we're looking for Mitchell to attack down the field, we got to get some big dudes up front that can protect them. And we also got to run the ball.
Well, that is the question, RG3. As you watch the Steelers, there will not be a worse win in the entire NFL season than the one the Steelers offense got week 1. When Joe Burrow gave them the ball on seemingly every other play, and they needed 70 minutes to kick a long field goal to find a way to actually win that game. And then this past week, they do nothing against New England. Is the problem with the quarterback, or is the problem with the protection?
I think the problem is with the protection. I think Mike Tomlin has earned our trust. He has basically given Mitch time, and he's saying, listen, you got a couple more weeks, man. If you don't really get it together, I'm going to go put Kenny Pickett in there. Because here's the reality. Kenny Pickett outplayed Mitch Trubisky in the preseason. It's just that Mitch didn't Mitch it up enough to allow him to get replaced. So I just feel like, what can Mitch Trubisky do that Kenny Pickett can't? Kenny Pickett has shown he's athletic. He's shown that he can throw with timing and rhythm. And guess what he doesn't have? He doesn't have bad memories. That's the difference between him and Mitch. And I think if you put Kenny Pickett in there, it will be a spark for the entire team. But I trust Mike Tomlin, and I understand that he is seeing things that we're not. And he's trying to protect his rookie quarterback. He's going to allow Mitchell Trubisky to run this thing out for a few more games. And if it doesn't improve, Pickett will be in.
Danny, what do you think? What are people around there saying?
Yeah, look, someday Jeff Saturday's going to start listening to the rest of us about how important the offensive line is. I don't know why he doesn't get it. But look, they don't trust the protection. I mean, there's no question about it. You can see that. And Mike Tomlin he's talking about patience. I think he's talking about the entire operation, the entire offense. The hope is the line gets better as the season goes along, and they think it will. They can't run the ball right now. No. Najee Harris getting tackled in the backfield before he even gets to the line. So that has to get better. So, yeah, you trust Mike Tomlin. Obviously, he's been through, well, not necessarily this, but he's been through stuff before, and he knows how to coach his team through it. So he's saying if we want to sit here and call for a quarterback change on Monday after week 2, we're misinformed. He has more information than we do about